about being a dad?
Well, being a dad is like being a great, indestructible garbage can. They spray paint the house number on you, they drive into you in the garage, and then they just bang out the dents and put more garbage in you.
So is it worth it?
Yeah, it's a great life.
There isn't a bad part of being a dad. How about that? You know, the best part about being a dad is it gives you a reason to live, you know, and it makes everything so important. You know, that everything I do, everything I'm inspired by, goes back to my kids.
Goes right back to the kids. Yes, it does. Well, Father's Day is a great day to reflect on our relationships with our dads and our kids. And if any of you fathers out there are looking for ways to improve your relationships with your family, this man can probably help. This is Keith Zafren. He's the author of How to Be a Great Dad. It's good to have you here with us talking about it. An important topic. You and I, during the break, we were going crazy talking father-son stuff. So thank you for being here today.
Great. Thank you, JD.
What do you think the number one thing is for guys out there? What's the number one failure of dads out there?
I think so many dads are repeating some of the mistakes of the past, like we were just talking about. They're either repeating the mistakes their fathers made or swinging the pendulum so far, counterbalancing, they're losing some of the good that their dads could have taught them.
Our generation had dads who were providers, very sort of traditional, what we think of. They went, they punched the clock, mom stayed home.
Yeah.
We saw dad at night, he was grumpy after his long day of work. That's not true of this generation of dads, is it?
Well, so many dads thought that's the way that they were communicating their love, that they said, I love you by providing financially. And so many of us in our generation know that wasn't enough for us. We missed some things that we're now trying to give to our kids. We're trying to provide real relationship and affection, and I'm trying to train dads how specifically to do that.
So let's talk about those specifics. You say there are 3 core values dads should approach parenting with. What are those?
Yeah, affirmation, acceptance, and affection.
Okay.
So I teach dads to give verbal and written affirmation to their kids, specific words of praise, hopefully more for their character than their performance or appearance or achievements, but to affirm, to praise, to look for something good, and then speak it. Because that's how kids, when they hear affirmation, that's how they develop self-esteem. They believe they're smart and capable and can do anything they set their good minds to.
And I think what you said is important. It's not just for dads affirmations about good job winning that soccer game.
Exactly.
Because that's not the kind of life skill you're necessarily looking to build. It's about character.
Yeah. And because kids then think they need to perform or achieve or look good in order to get their father's affirmation, their praise, and they don't just get love for who they are.
All right, well, let's talk about acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance, I assume, means to some degree embracing your children for who they are, not trying to make them like you.
Exactly. Unconditional, unending acceptance. And it's a huge distinction that dads, I think, fail to make between acceptance and approval. Because when we disapprove of a choice or a behavior or an action or a friendship or a relationship, we end up communicating rejection without wanting to.
Well, that's incredibly important. How do I tell my son, that's not acceptable? I don't, well, not accept, I disapprove of that, don't do it, but I always love you.
I have 11, 13, and 15-year-old sons. My 15-year-old has a lot of trouble with lying.
Yeah.
And just the other day, this is what I did with him. I said, you know, son, what you did is not okay. Lying is not okay. I don't want you to be a liar. I want you to be a truth teller, and I know you can. That's not okay, but you are. And I will love you forever, no matter what.
And that leads right into affection, which you've talked about as the third point.
Yes.
Some guys have trouble showing physical affection, lots of I love yous and hugs, but it's really important.
Well, a lot of us didn't get that from our own dads. And so we have trouble sometimes with, in our relationships, our intimate relationships, and often with our children. I had to learn that myself. My dad wasn't around. He left when I was 7, and I had to learn how to be affectionate with my children. It was awkward at first, but I'd done enough reading to know that my kids need to be touched. They need dad's affection. And so I've had to learn to do that. And now I'm teaching guys how to do that in age-appropriate ways.
Yeah, of course.
And,
of course. I find that my physical affection that I share with my kids, I get as much out of it
it's amazing.
as they do. Like the hug of one of my kids.
Yeah.
And to open that up. Keith, really good stuff. Thank you.
JD.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Make sure you pick up a copy of his book, How to Be a Great Dad. Father's Day, yeah, it's to celebrate dad, but dads, it's also a day when you could think about how great a dad you could be.